Welcome to the channel. This time, my banana boys take on some fancy new marines. We're playing Tactical Cascade, a mission from chapter approved. First off, let's take a look at the rosters. So we rolled up Vanguard Strike Deployment, you know, the really frickin' annoying one, and placed our objectives like so. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Objective 2 is obscured by the gray building there. We then deployed, with most of his infiltrators using their special rules shiz to set up 9 inches for my deployment zone. He has a strong presence in this building here, with the eliminators, characters, and suppressors taking up every floor of it. Here's another angle so you can see the Vindy, way in my back corner. You may have also noticed his Invictor is deployed quite far away instead of right in my face. He realized this mistake in the first turn, but wanted to treat it as a learning experience rather than doing over its deployment. Last thing to mention before we get started, is that this battle was played literally the day before the new Custodes and Telemon rules came out, where they nerfed the Telemon into the frickin' ground.
Look how they massacred my boy.
I won't go into it too much, but I will say that the Telemon was too good before. I'll probably still try and use him now, but I think he was hit overly harshly with the nerf bat, the main annoyance being cutting the range of his guns in half. In frickin' half. So Space Marines get the first turn. In this mission, you pre-select 2 cards for turn 1, and in subsequent turns you draw 2 more cards for each objective you scored last time. At the end of the game, you lose 1 point for every 3 unused objective cards in your hand. For his first turn, he chose Secure 1, and Defend 1. Apart from the guys in the building, everything moves up towards me. The land speeder is full of sniper scouts, and the inceptors are in deep strike. Here's a decent shot of the main bulk of my army. He then calls down an orbital bombardment on my Vexilla, doing a couple of wounds to him and 1 wound to my warlord, but rolling poorly and failing to harm anything else. His eliminators then target the Vexilla, and manage to kill him.
I don't believe it.
In the rest of the phase, he kills 2 bikes, mostly through sheer weight of fire. I think the suppressors do 4 wounds to the Custodes, and he wounds a foot guard or 2. He then charges the 2 frontmost guard squads with 2 units of infiltrators. I'm not sure what the plan was here. I guess these Marines were just spoiling for a fight and wanted to prove their skill in combat.
I'm telling you, the exact reverse opposite of that is gonna happen.
Well, 1 unit of infiltrators is completely wiped out, and the other is down to just 1 guy, with no guard lost in return. So far, then, he scored first strike, and secure objective 1. For my turn 1 cards, I chose Eliminate Threats and Deliver Victory, 2 Custodes cards. My remaining jet bikes, and warlord, head up here to hopefully deal with all these Marines. The only other movement is the centermost guard squad, moving up to threaten the units in the central ruin, shooting. Between them, the Custodes and Telemon make short work of the Invictor warsuit and the land speeder, with a little help from the guard. The scouts jump out outside the ruin. The Vindicator does like a couple of wounds to a character, and then fluffs his second shot.
Fucking donkey!
After killing a couple of Marines and shooting, the bikes charge both units of infils, with the warlord and 1 guard squad helping out against the nearest unit. He plays a stratagem on 1 unit to give me -1 to wound, but I still luckily managed to do exactly enough wounds to wipe out both squads. One of my jet bikes looks like it might have been close enough to consolidate into his bikes. I must have missed that. In the center, I charge this unit and lose a guy to Overwatch, then kill 3 of his guys, and down here, I obviously finish off the last survivor from the suicidal charge last turn. So in turn 1, I scored 3 points from Eliminate Threats, but only roll a 1. This still triggers Deliver Victory of course, and I got first strike too, so I'm on 3 points. He also scores his defend objective 1 card now, so it's 4-3 to Space Marines. Marines' turn 2 cards are Supremacy, Lightning Strike, for the Emperor, and Scour the Skies. He moves some aggressors up to menace one of my foot squads. The bikes do a neat little shuffle to ensure they can all fire at my warlord. And his Inceptors drop here, behind the Telemon. In this pick they're actually too close, and we realize and shove them back a bit afterwards. They can fit here because the Vindicator, behind them, is more than 9 inches up in the air. Shooting starts pretty poorly, with my Vindicator getting off lightly and only suffering 1 wound. The aggressors dumping a metric shit ton of flames onto the Guardian squad but still only causing 1 wound, and 6 more wounds being stripped off the Custodes, mostly by the Thunderfire cannon I think. And then, he targets his bikes and eliminators at my warlord, and kills him.
You know what? This is bullshit.
His Inceptors also do 6 frickin' wounds to the Telemon. I guess I should be thankful they're not plasma ones. They then charge the Telemon, losing 2 whole guys to Overwatch. For some reason they decide to charge both the Telemon and Trajan, which is a mistake that I feel will cost them dearly.
Prediction? Yes, prediction. Pain.
In the center of the board, he manages to charge 2 aggressors from the other unit and on my central foot squad. I must have forgot to mention that I killed 1 aggressor from this squad last turn. He also sandwiches my other foot squad between his bikes and scouts. I really want to deal with these bikes this turn, rather than having to piss about with them in mine, and I'm not confident my custodians can manage that on their own. So in a rather overkill move, I stooping dive my jet bikes into his bikes. Fortunately, Trajan refunds all 3 command points with his moment shackle. Obviously I completely muller his bikes, and kill nearly all of the scouts. The combat with the aggressors is a bit of a stalemate, I think. Trajan had sacrificed his ability to fight twice, in order to refund the stooping dive CPs, so this combat was pretty nerve-wracking, but I rolled well, and Traj still wiped out all of the Inceptors.
Oh yeah, it's all coming together.
This turn, then, he scored 3 more points. My warlord gave him 2, for Slay the Warlord and Scour the Skies, and he scored for the Emperor simply by having made a charge, putting him on 7. I also get to draw 4 cards, which are Crush Their Resistance, Secure 3, Defend 1, and No Prisoners. For Crush Their Resistance, my opponent chose Objective 1, as I can't reach it this turn, so this will be a very quick turn summary. My bikes head up here to secure Objective 3, and a Custodian squad squares up to the untouched aggressors. In shooting, I managed to delete the aggressors here anyway. The Telemon does this on its own, as with -4 AP, and flat 3 damage, it's absolutely brutal against Gravis armor. I think I also wipe out the suppressors. The assassin fails to accomplish anything once again. Wow, great job.
What did I buy you for? To make me sad?
In the center, my custodians whiff, then get completely mullered by the aggressors with their power fist thingies. So in my turn 2, I scored secure objective 3, and D3 points for no prisoners, as I also finished off the scouts, so killed 3 units. I only roll 1 point for it though. That's 2 more points, putting me on 5. Marines turn 3. 4 more cards, no prisoners, area denial, defend 5, and defend 6. Here's a refresher of where the objectives are, in case you can't remember. Here's the board state. Not a ton of movement, the aggressors in the middle just shuffle over. Other than that, he still has a bunch of characters and eliminators holed up in this building, and the Thunderfire cannon is still tucked out of sight over here, by objective 1. In shooting, he snipes at Traj and does another wound, and finally finishes off the Custodes, which nets him lightning strike, an objective he drew last turn. His aggressors and last remaining infiltrator charge my custodians over here, but this time I have a storm shield guy left, who tanks all the damage. My guys then strike back with
Great vengeance and furious anger,
and slay all their foes. The only other thing that happens is he charges my bikes with 2 of his characters from the building. His warlord, at the top, is -1 to hit, and I can only wound him on a 4+. So he's very tanky, and I fail to wound him. The other guy is a lieutenant, I think, and I do a couple of wounds to him. To my relief, these characters aren't really kitted for combat, so they just blunt their blades against my armor. So this turn, he scored lightning strike, area denial, and no prisoners, for 3 points, bringing his total to 10. My turn 3 cards, scour the skies, hold the line, overwhelming firepower, and... Sorry about the glare, I couldn't really get a better shot. In movement, I leave combat with the bikes, and send them behind the building. The nearby custodians march up to hopefully take their place in the combat. In shooting, what we see is the end of the eliminators, essentially. The bikes wipe out one squad and the teleman wipes out two from the top squad, so there's just one guy left, out of shot. The guy in the corner of the building there is a chaplain. The custodians then make a good solid charge against his warlord. Despite all his defensive stuff, I roll hot and he rolls cold, and I cut the warlord down where he stands. Points-wise, then, I net slay the warlord, hold the line, overwhelming firepower, and I roll 2 for Kingslayer, so that's 5 more. That puts me level with Marines, on 10. Marines turn 4. He scored 3 objectives last turn, so has to draw 6 more cards, which is the maximum you can draw. Here are all his current cards now, then. I won't list them all, in the interests of time and sanity, so if you're that bothered you can pause the video to read them. He only has the Thunderfire Cannon, Lieutenant, and possibly the Chaplain and 1 Eliminator left now. He moves the Cannon and Engineer to grab Objective 2, as he drew Mission Critical Objective 2, and Secure 2. This turn, he scores 3 points. I can't work out what the third point was for, but that's what I have down. My turn 4, and I also have to draw 6 cards, so here they are. I start moving the bikes across towards his Thunderfire Cannon, and I run some custodians back to grab Objective 5. The Telemon blows up the Thunderfire Cannon in shooting, and I think I also kill his lieutenant guy. That's it, so in this turn I score Warzone Secure, for holding 3 objectives, i.e. 3, 4, and 5, and I also got Secure 5. I'm on 12, then, and Marines are on 13. On to turn 5, he draws a few more objective cards, but the only one of relevance is Kingslayer, as he already killed my warlord. Other than the Cannon Engineer guy thing, he only has this Eliminator dude left, so he doesn't score any other objectives, but he does manage to roll 3 for Kingslayer, putting him on 16. At the same time, 2 of my defend cards, 3 and 5, ripen into a nice fat harvest of 4 more points, bumping me up to 16 as well. I draw the maximum of 6 cards again. I send my bikes round here, and they make their charge against the engineer guy thing, killing him and grabbing the objective. I finish this guy off in shooting, which wipes Marines out completely. In total, I score 4 more points, to finish on 20. The points are from behind enemy lines, Secure 1, and 2 from Crush their Resistance, which he had chosen Objective 1 for, a while back. We roll, and the game carries on into turn 6. Marines have to draw 2 cards, but with no models left they don't score any more points. We work out that if I draw my cards in turn 6, but just hypothetically move so that I don't score any objectives, I will win on points, after the deductions are made. Remember, in this mission you lose a point for every 3 unscored objective cards you hold at the end. We actually lose 4 points each, so the game ends with a 16-12 victory for Custodes. I think Marines got too carried away with the Phobos unit deployment, and used them far too aggressively, which allowed me to massacre almost all of his troop squads very early on. Conversely, it's a shame the Invictor was deployed wrong and didn't get to do anything before getting blown away. Anyway, that was the last game with the Custodes beta rules. Hope you enjoyed seeing our armies in action, and thanks for watching.
Like and subscribe.
You filthy animal.